All right, so today we prepare ourselves, week 2, peace. And the purpose of this whole week coming up is for us to get to a place where we are better versions of ourselves. That's what the whole point is. We aren't always peaceful people, as we know, especially in trying times. But from a truth perspective, it's important to remember that we can learn to experience peace at any time if we simply understand the concept. So before I go too far, I'm going to light this second candle, so I don't forget. So now we have hope and faith lit, and we have peace. So week 1 in hope and faith, I mentioned that Advent is all about the anticipation of a notable event. And we talked about what were people anticipating in terms of hope and faith. But this week, I want you to imagine just for a minute what you might have been anticipating in terms of peace if you were living back then. What were you thinking would happen when this child came into the world? What were we, people like us, imagining at the time? And the best way for you to think about anticipated peace is to think about the last time you planned a vacation or a day off or something that was meaningful to you that you knew would just be the big relief, and you just couldn't stand it. You were so ready. In the days leading up to that event, you were anticipating the peace that you would experience and feel when something happened that you hadn't even experienced yet. So you get through the week, you're going to work or whatever, and you're thinking, oh, I just have 4 more days till peace, right? Go ahead, laugh, but you know I'm right? Am I right? Yeah, so we have these moments. It's like, oh, let's just get there. We're chasing peace all the time. But regardless of where we are or the location or what's going on in our life, the truth of the matter is you don't need to go anywhere because peace is an inward journey. It's all inner. It's all about us having this place where we go within and we recognize that we need our peace. So at any time in the chaos, we just have to go within. We don't need to plan the vacation. It's great to plan one, but you're not going to be any more peaceful there than you are here unless you change your mindset, unless you're monitoring your emotions, because that's what happens. It's our mindset, our emotions, and present moment consciousness that creates the peaceful experience and the perception of us being at peace. Emily Cady in Lessons in Truth explains that the renewed infilling of the heart with peace and harmony is a daily practice. And that daily practice results in the continual outgoing of peace and harmony from us to the world. The more centered we are, the more that goes out. Jeffrey told me this crazy story about black ants and red ants, that when you put black ants and red ants into a jar, nothing happens until you shake it up, and then they begin attacking each other. Now, what does that say about when we're shaking up the world with our verbal chaos, with our emotional outbursts, and with a mindset that doesn't bring peace to ourselves or anyone else? When we maintain peace within ourselves, we better ourselves, we become the kind of person who can live in peace, not only with ourselves, but with all people in all circumstances. But it requires our time, on a daily basis to practice this. Sitting at the beach or on a mountaintop or a virtual reality headset might be a great experience for the moment, but it will not bring eternal peace. Peace is the calming of a heart through prayer and communion with God. It's the power of the universe, and it can exist in any circumstances. Buddhism reflects these same principles. Buddha said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Buddhists actually believe we have to embrace the law of dependent origination to achieve peace, which basically means everything is dependent upon everything. Just like us, we're dependent upon each other. The existence of every human being is dependent upon one another. And all living beings have to be intertwined in the real world. Buddhism teaches that the coexistence of all beings is a necessary element for us to achieve the highest level of individual growth and spiritual awakening and to travel the road to peace. But Mahatma Gandhi said something similar. He said every individual has to find his peace from within, and peace to be real must be unaffected by outside circumstances. And he said we often associate peace with sitting under a tree and meditating, hands out, the Zen garden. But in reality, if you want to find your center, he said, you have to see it within you and reflect it around you. Then and only then will you become the peace. St. Francis of Assisi, known for his peaceful practices, conveyed a similar message. He said, as you announce peace with your mouth, make sure you have greater peace in your heart. Thus, no one will be provoked or angered or scandaled because of you. Peace comes from the heart, he said, and if peace can transform from within, then peace will guide the brothers as they travel through the world. Now, I don't know about you, but I think as humans, we tend to excuse our unpeaceful practices. And we do this thing where we say, we're just being human. It's just human. I didn't mean it. It's just another life lesson. Okay, in the meantime, we pretty much spit all over somebody minutes ago. So disrupting other people's days and causing hurt feelings and being insensitive are all signs that we are not taking care of ourselves. When we are short-fused, when we are short-tempered, when we are quick to call somebody else out, we are not centered. And it's time for a break. It's time for prayer. It's time for meditation. It's time for that walk. But we have to be able to do the work. When we're not feeling peaceful, we have to trust the feelings. It's a sign before our emotions boil over. And it's this constant monitoring like you do with your gas tank. You wouldn't drive anywhere without gas. You're always looking at the tank. Well, we need to monitor our emotional tank. It's the same. When is it running low? When is it too low? When is it risky? Our built-in gauge for peace is our consciousness. And Sir John Templeton in Pathways to Heaven said that our first step to inner peace can be the realization that when anger, irritation, or feelings of upset arise within us, it is not the fault of someone else or something else. Rather, these feelings are prompted by our own improper response to others. And he goes on to say it's important for us to realize that change has to occur within us. If our inner consciousness is filled with harmony and peace, this is what we bring to every situation and to every person we meet through our words and our actions. Being centered and focused, he said, helps create the harmony and the happiness that we all desire. Now, unity, principle number 3, says, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. It's our principle. It's one of our 5 principles. So why aren't we practicing that more? I don't know if you're noticing, but there are a lot of people out there saying a lot of stuff this last month or 2. And it's not helping anybody be more peaceful. I was reminded of unity principle number 3 this week in our personal life. So there's the work at the church and spiritual needs to support and prayers. We had a minister's Christmas party on Monday night in the villages, an amazing gathering. We had our corporate job, multiple calls, 6-hour days of facilitation for training. Was in the middle of writing my 7th of my 10th credo, due at the end of this month. We had preparation for the membership meeting today, preparation for today's service. And then there was the birthday party for the 15-year-old. 30 teens invited to our home. 2 requests, can all the Christmas decorations be up? And can we use this cool theme of old money, where it kind of looks like the Gatsby days? Okay, only 2 small requests. So, decorating began at 7:30 on Thursday night until Melody went to bed. At the same time, our grand dog went into the emergency hospital, and he went to the ER. They couldn't help him where he lives in Maryland. They had to drive him to Annapolis. He had unexpected surgery Friday night for a twisted lung and had 30% of his lung removed. And he is going to be just fine, which is such a gift. But so while we're decorating, I'm worried about the family. Friday morning, we're up at 5:30, and Jeffrey and I we took off Friday from work to spend the whole day hanging lights and decor, picking up foods, final event items, being prepared for the event that started at 6:30. Crazy rush to the finish line, but we did it. And the doorbell rings, and all these lovely dressed kids come. They came dressed for the party. And they all were dressed up, and it was so impressive. So with all the lights shining brightly inside and out, Jeffrey had the music on all the outside lights synchronized, so they're flashing to the music. I mean, somebody said it's like Hallmark here. And I said, I totally get that. But we had the lights floating in the pool. I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect setting. And then all of a sudden, at about 8 o'clock, I'm sitting in Jeffrey's office, and I'm realizing, we're kind of filling food, etc. And I hear all these kids singing at the top of their lungs to music outside. And I'm thinking, I wonder how our neighbors are feeling right now. But in that moment, I looked at Jeffrey and I said, this is pure joy. What we're experiencing right now was worth everything we went through this week, because it was pure joy. And the peace that I felt looking over at our granddaughter and seeing her happy and enjoying herself, and all these people saying happy birthday to her, and we took these big group pictures, but I just felt like this was the most peaceful moment in the middle of the chaos. I suddenly realized this was what we had worked for. And I told him we need to take this in and recognize this was all for our learning. That all week long, when we were feeling like it was chaotic and the time was running away, in that moment, it all became clear. And when the last guest left at 11:15 p.m., and it was 12:30 a.m. and we were still cleaning up, I said, could this have been a better night? There was just nothing but gratitude and peace. I slept for the first time I've slept in weeks. I slept a good 5 hours, which doesn't happen very often, and I was so happy. But the whole point is that we have choices in every situation to decide whether we are going to be at peace or whether we're going to let our life run away for us. And we have to be able to embrace those moments for ourselves to say, it's not what's going on outside, it's us. It was all about our mindset, all about our mentality. And every time I get ready to speak on a topic, the week prior gives me God's life lesson on what I need to learn. But in every situation, we can choose whether to walk in peace or to create stress for ourselves. That's what it's all about. So let's take a look at today's lessons. Experiencing peace is a lifetime commitment. Sorry, Greg, I'm looking there. Is a lifetime commitment that requires us to, one, recognize peace is fully within our control. Nothing outside of us will help us find peace. Identify the root cause for lack of peace. Find the source and make the necessary changes. Practice present moment peace. There's great power in the peaceful response. And number 4, use prayer and meditation to remain centered. Staying grounded in our spirit will reflect peace. And the affirmation I chose for today is, I am centered in peace. Let's say that together. I am centered in peace. And our quote is from St. Francis de Sales. Do not lose your inward peace for anything whatsoever, even if your whole world seems upset. Let's just take that in. And so we pause now to reflect upon the importance of going within to find our inner peace, to recognize that nothing outside of us, not anticipated peace, not a new home, a new trip, nothing can help us achieve peace unless we first have centered ourselves, our mind and our emotions, and we have gone within and done the prayer and meditation work to connect with our divine source, where all peace can come. And so it is with great gratitude that we say, thank you, God. Amen.